Hello, everybody. It's Johnny Law again. I'm going to do a real quick intro. I'm here with Crash. Say hello, Crash.
Hey, how you doing?
And we're going to be going over that very anticipated armor numbers. And we're going to go over 0, 1, 3, and 5. We'll go over real quick topics of those while the video is going. But first, we're going to go ahead and start with zeros. And you can watch this test footage that we've been going through, and me and Crash will be talking about it as that video is going. First thing I tried out doing, as you can see, is the groupings, and the best weapons to do that with is the shotguns, of course, and with the breaker incendiary, you can literally see the shots going. Um, with the zeros on the Prototype X, you can see how small those groupings are, and here soon you'll see uh, how much of a difference it makes with a different set of armor. Crash, you want to go into more detail about the zeros sets while this is going?
Yeah. So during some of our our testing, we found that zeros were technically giving us better shots on target. And we were wondering why that is. And so we thought, let's just compare it against a bunch of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
so we found out that through this, it's tighter spread on bullets. Um, and this isn't just all your bullets are single fire. This is burst fire, things with shot patterns. Um, it does help with horizontal recoil, bringing stuff in a little bit for the shot patterns. And one thing that's not in here, you'll notice, is it can provide better arc targeting because of that recoil.
Aha. See, I didn't know that yet. That's interesting. And
Yeah, and you'll see here on the video that it even provides that horizontal recoil that we're talking about. It's tighter. It's left and right. It's bringing it in. That horizontal recoil, it's bringing it in.
yeah.
It's a lot better. So if you're wanting to know how to get more of your bombs on target or destroy a bigger target with those cluster bombs, it's amazing for this.
Most definitely. It was cool testing this out, and you'll have side by side footage here in a second, but testing it out and seeing how the the difference between the two when you actually put them next to each other and seeing those gaps show up, really cool to see. Um,
It's a
just
lot of testing hours that Johnny's put in for this stuff, and a lot of testing hours I've put in to try and find some stuff. And
yeah.
you'll notice here the airburst also does tighter shot patterns.
I've also noticed that it's these these modifiers on these armors seem to affect the weapons a lot more than the stratagems. There's still a difference within the stratagems, but uh I don't know if it's just because that it's easier to see or it just doesn't affect the
Yeah.
stratagems as much. See, here I'm testing out with Arctic Ranger, which only has 1-4 on it, and it's hard to
No
tell.
zeros.
Yeah, no zeros at all, and it's hard to notice right now, but you can see those random ones that shoot out further than the circle are shooting
They're a lot more spread out.
a lot more.
And at
Yes.
greater ranges, you'll notice that you're having to put more bullets on the target or more shots pulled or
Mm-hmm.
triggers pulled to kill a target.
Yep.
Um, so the groupings are a little bit more spread out, um, and it can make a big difference on your engagement distance.
Yep. Yep. I tried really hard to get in the same spot every time, using the same amount of ammo each time. And I mean,
Ooh, that was a lot bigger.
yeah, you can see it was a lot bigger. It was almost going to the
Oh,
edge of the map on the
edge of your
left.
screens.
Yeah, edge of the screens instead of just a little bit in. Did a lot of Alt F4ing to make sure I kept getting this map.
Yeah, that was even more spread out by like 20%
Mm-hmm.
on the airstrike there. That was a lot more spread out. Was this another cluster bomb? No, this is the other one.
Yeah, it's just airstrike. Yep,
Another airstrike.
yep. Try to do 2 clusters, 2 airstrikes, and orbital airburst.
Yeah.
And it was hard to tell how big of a difference it was making on the airburst. It makes me almost
I
wonder.
can see it,
Yeah.
especially if you put them like side by side, you'll see the difference.
Mm-hmm.
But the airburst does have a bigger shot pattern on them.
See, now we're doing this side by side, and when you look at them from left to right, with and without, you can physically see the difference between the
It's
two.
more spread out on the
Mm-hmm.
fours.
And that grouping, there's not a lot tighter grouping when you have it with you. Yeah, it's just great watching it. Like, it was harder to see the claps. Oh, now we're on the
I
executioner.
Yeah, I had a lot of people that were like, "Yeah, this isn't real. You're just making stuff up." And I'm like, I noticed this. And I was like, "Man, this feels a lot smaller."
Mm-hmm. Now with the executioner, all ones, this should affect what's the word I'm looking for? Your groupings with your weapons, your
This
recoil.
is bullet speed, slower bullet drops, stratagem deviation reductions for like angle coming down. But the biggest part is vertical recoil
Vertical recoil. That's what I
and
was looking for.
and increased tracking for stratagems.
Yep.
So
But this one was the most fun. I could see the difference quite immediately without even having to do the side by side. You'll see when I use the machine guns that with the ones, besides the heavy machine gun, that thing is just kind of crazy.
it goes
But
everywhere.
yeah, there's still a difference, but it's just, but like with the machine gun, like the circle where you're actually aiming compared to your
Yeah.
center, like it doesn't move very far apart. And I ran it twice with each weapon. And see, like there's moments when
And we're not crouching to get the other
nope,
buff from the
nope,
armor
yeah,
either.
nope,
This is standing shots.
yep,
So
no crouching, all standing, same fire rate, everything. And the stalwart, like with these ones, barely moves at all. It's just right there, and it climbs.
it's stopping a lot of your vertical recoil climb.
Yep. And it still climbs, oh so very slowly, but the stalwart has so many rounds that it still gets
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah, it may be a bit of a lengthy process, but we wanted to show all of
Oh yeah.
the actual footage of what we've been testing and give you the final form of
Hmm.
the best stuff.
Yep. This is what people wanted. They wanted to see the test footage. They wanted to see side by sides, so that's what we're giving you. See, next is the airstrikes to see the difference
Now,
between those.
with vertical recoil, this is front to back. So normally things are pretty spread out, but this is going to take your front to back
Mm-hmm.
closer on your cluster bomb. So it's going to make a skinnier cluster bomb rather than your left to right moving. Your skinny portion is going to just jump in there.
Yep.
And get real close.
And I mean, even at this angle, it's hard to see it, but it's there. When you see the side by side, it becomes more noticeable. It's how most of the stratagems are, just because I mean, the weapons we could easily see how much the recoil is being affected, and with the stratagems, it's just a bunch of explosions, and it's hard to see, you know, the entirety of it. Now we're doing without the ones back in the Arctic Ranger 4.
Such a big difference.
Yep. See, you'll see with the heavy machine guns, it's hard to tell. Because,
way off the dot.
Yeah, it's still way off the dot compared to the other one. It's just a crazy weapon in general, really. Almost impractical with the amount of recoil. Be cool if they had a bipod option with it, where you could stick it on like a wall or something. You know, those concrete walls, and you'd be able to post it on that.
Brace yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Change to each weapon. Yeah. I kept messing up the footage too. Kept recording without video, not realizing it. I basically had to do this testing like 3 times because I kept screwing up.
That was a lot higher climb.
Oh yeah, much higher. And then the stalwart.
And he's not moving his mouse around. He's just
No.
holding the trigger and
Yep.
letting it go.
Just pulling the trigger and letting it go. I tried to make sure to stand on the same hill. Didn't move my mouse at all. Just pulled the trigger and let the weapon do its thing. And you can see that circle ain't even coming close to touching that dot on this one. And it was the same with the machine gun too. It becomes much more noticeable when we do the side by side. Yeah, not even close. I kept trying to aim at the same spot too.
Yeah, it's not correcting as fast.
Nope. Not at all.
This is kind of what I've talked about sometimes when I say gun bloom, is it's how fast it recenters itself.
Mm-hmm. I tried to take the jetpack every opportunity I could to get up on that rock to get a higher view, but since I needed certain things, like all 3 rifles and yeah, you can see the spread. Like there was one that almost hit at this bottom rock down here, and there wasn't even one that came close.
Yeah, this is just going back over to the other ones that we had with the cluster bombs with.
Yeah.
Showing you the cluster bombs again.
Yep. Yeah. Without the ones, it's almost hitting to that back berm and those rocks. When on the with it, it didn't even come close. You can watch the side by side. I mean, look at that. Without, the thing is going all over the place, and with, it's still somewhat close. The machine gun, same thing.
This one's pulling way hard to the left and right on the Arctic Ranger, but the other one's kind of just in center.
Mm-hmm. Stalwart has a huge noticeability. Like, like any doubt I had is like gone. I mean, just seeing the side by side myself, it's just great.
Yeah.
Now the airstrikes. Yeah, with it doesn't even come close to this rock face at near my feet, and then without it was. All right, now we're hopping into the Trailblazer.
This is the stealth video stuff.
Yeah.
This is all your 3 stats that we're going to talk about.
Yep, the 3 stat. Now, we don't have any with all 3s, but 3.0, there's still a noticeable difference. You'll see I make these guys dance.
Just dancing the robots.
Uh-huh. They don't know where I am. They're just looking for the explosions. And it's not till I kind of
You brought one close enough to you for them to even notice you.
Yep. Your mother is a toaster. And then they finally noticed me. Even when they had an idea of where I was.
That was like 5 shots.
Yep.
5 shots before they even decided to pick out where you were.
Yeah, and then even when it did seem like they noticed me, it still took quite a bit for them to...
Now, this also has a perk on it for distance noticed by 30%.
Yep.
For the 3s and the Trailblazer. But this right here is more than 30% distance increase.
Yeah, for sure.
So if it was 30%, he would have been on the hill below and like way down there, that first hill, and that would have been 30%. But they immediately went into like, oh, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
And then they didn't even get a little notice. Nope. Even like right before the tremors hit, they did their little flag thing. It didn't even matter.
It was like before I could even get my second shot off, they realized, hey, I think that's a bad guy up there. You know, it made a huge difference. Now this one is still kind of hard to tell because it's just the huge explosions. I probably should have ran down and measured the craters. But with the Devastator, all 5s, You want to explain that one to our fellow
Yeah, so
viewers?
fives are an area stat that increases your inner and outer radius of your explosions. Now, this is a very data mined stat for inner and outer radiuses on each individual thing, but the fives increase your area for the hit zones. This increases for bullets, stratagems, support weapons, grenades, everything that you can think of that it will apply to. It's going to increase the size of those things, increasing even the grenade projectile itself.
So pretty much, there's no with all fives you have pretty much no damage drop off. So if you have 100%
Well,
damage at
you'll
this,
still have the drop off, but it will just be a huge explosion.
gotcha. God. Because I was wearing the Devastator, I was trying to huck it as far as possible. I got a good 70 meters. Nice, gorgeous
Big bomb.
explosion. Yeah.
And the outer radius on these 500 kilogram bombs is 20 for the outer radius, but you can increase the explosion radius up to like 30 with a full set of fives.
See, this one I get a little close, which turns out to be a good thing because when I'm wearing the Arctic, I get some a little close as well. And then we're gonna do it with the Eagle Airstrike too. Those have good explosions. I figured the airstrike would be.
This one's a really good one to see because it's pretty spread out and the bombs are a lot bigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost like mini nukes off of Fallout 4. And then one more time for good measure, and to kill some bot.
Oh, that aggro radius. They wanted you.
Yeah, they did. It's probably because it's got yellows on it.
Yeah, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of... I'm not going to be hiding here. They know where you're at.
And then I threw a third one just to finish them off.
Yeah. They're pretty big explosions.
Mm-hmm.
And you just jump off the cliff.
With the Arctic Ranger, which has no fives at all, just 1 4. Going through the grenades again, which it was really hard to tell the difference with the grenades.
They look a little smaller.
Mm-hmm. But with all that smoke blown by, it really skewed the image.
The flash seems to be smaller.
Yeah, that's what I was noticing too. The flash was probably the small part that I could notice. Could reload using a grenade pistol too, just cause. That reload animation is really smooth too. Really
Wish
believable.
I could reload that fast.
And try to get a good huck. It was kind of low, so it's not going to go too far, but it matches up with the second one I did. Well, 68, that's pretty darn close.
Yeah, it's pretty close in the way it was there.
Mm-hmm.
The explosion looks a little smaller in the way it works, but like the particle effect.
Yeah.
But the ground effect was definitely a lot smaller.
Yeah. It's just sometimes it's hard to tell with such a big explosion already. It's like, all right, this one's big, but this one's bigger. Like, yep. I had fun doing this one just to watch the 500 kilogram explosion.
Airstrikes.
Yep. Now this one you'll notice a difference too.
Yeah, those felt a lot smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is one thing, the Democratic Detonation Pack, it felt like it was setting up for this, explosion-themed pack, and it really was.
Yep.
This Devastator armor, the 5.5s, came from this Democratic Detonation Pack, and it gave bigger explosions. I felt like that was a major improvement on any armor set we had.
Yeah, same. I agree. It makes it more, when we talk about these number stats
You missed a bot in the middle of that, didn't you? It was running right.
Yeah, that was one issue I kept having too, was these bots bothering me. You know how hard it was to try and line up this grenade shot in editing? Like, it took me
Left,
forever.
right, and the speed.
Yeah.
It looks like
But
your hole's also becoming bigger on the Devastator one rather than the
oh yeah, for
Arctic
sure.
Ranger.
And then the side by side with the big boom. Yeah. Mhm. Yep. I believe that
It's
is.
slightly smaller without.
Yep. But that's it. That's everything. Hope you guys enjoyed it.